From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big early morning of early mornings LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check updated 2021. In this recording, we go over the deal that could be done by the end of this week. Are we done today, or are we done on Sunday? Are the latest details across the board. A new CBS poll says Americans do not know a recon even exists. I'll go over why the problem has erupted, and it's not because of you, it's because of those legislators. We'll be turning back to Congress as the programs are getting removed. Which ones are going out? We're looking at a $1.7 to $2 trillion recon at the moment, and we're going to go over which of the programs have been removed overnight and which ones are staying in. This is the latest rundown. Get that pen and paper ready because I have big updates you're hearing for the first time on early. Then we turn to student loan debt as more debt could be forgiven, $10,000 by this weekend. Should the Democrats take it? I have the latest details. Then we have a big update for fifth stimulus, our first update for fifth stimulus in several weeks. A legislator says Nancy's ready to do it and we're ready to rock and roll. The latest on early. Then 10-year anniversary, no, 1.5-year anniversary this weekend. This Sunday, we're going to look back at the first 140 million viewers and first a year and a half of this channel, what we've learned about ourselves, what we learned about the missing of bacon, and what we learned going forward. We got a big morning and the beautiful weather is upon us, and I'm excited you're here. With that, get ready because it's a big recording with the latest update of all the provision in, out, and you're going to meet one legislator who wants to take up 25% of the recon for her program. Not happening. Especially even if it was bacon. I mean, even if it was bacon, maybe we would take up 25% of the recon for bacon. But, I can't even get bacon. The toast is toasting, and the butter is buttering, and the coffee's brewing, and the bacon's missing. And this is Early Mornings LALATE. Morning, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day and hope the weather is as good where you are. It's been beautiful here in Southern California. I'm direct with you from Santa Monica, California, along the coast. The deal is happening. Could the deal be done today, Saturday, or Sunday? I have the latest details in this breaking report. Then, Democrats dealing with a problem. Americans don't even know a recon exists. You know it exists. Why do Americans not know it exists? I have the latest in this breaking report. The price is right. The recon will come in at 1.7 to $2 trillion. What does this mean for you? It's great news. But which programs are out? Which programs are in? I have the latest breaking details down. This is totally different from afternoon's show yesterday. It's the latest update, and that's early morning's broadcast. Student loan debt, more could be forgiven, upwards of $10,000. Whose debt? Next. I have the latest details across the board in this recording. Then we turn to a big surprise, as now legislators are looking and eyeing for that fifth stimulus, and it is huge. This stimulus could be right around the corner. Then we look back at the first year and a half of this channel and what we have learned as a family and a community. We look back at the first year and a half as this channel turns its big birthday this weekend. You and I, we got a big anniversary this weekend with 140 million viewers behind us, and we're looking forward to the big weekend as well. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record, and 140 million views in a year and a half. Hit that subscribe button, like this video, and consider becoming a member. Coming up next is Overnight's Crypto, currently playing on this channel. And then I'm back with you at 7 a.m. with morning's countdown. And then at 9 o'clock is the new LALATE live in the mornings. Let's turn to this big recon and understand that this recon across the board pays viewers of this channel about $15,000. It's about $15,000 this recon pays you. And it's for single individuals, married couple, adults, children, people married, people unmarried, people with jobs, people without jobs, red states, blue states. It was devised as 3 clusters passed a subcommittee several weeks ago. 1, 2, and 3 clusters passed, but some of those provisions in those clusters out. Some of the provisions reduced. 3 add-ons being proposed. So get a pen and paper ready because it's the latest update of what's in, out, and being revised right now. Cluster number 1, hazard pay, $4,000 of elder care as well. Let's go over the details, which are in and which are out and which have been removed. Hazard pay stayed in there. The earned income tax credit broadened the eligibility for those essential workers and more money across the board. $4,000 of elder care reportedly still in there as well. That is also $4,000 for young children's care as well. We got money in there for college students. The Pell Grant made tax-free, and the university grants to them and also directly to the university staying in there. Then they got money in there to the home, for the home. Did I wake you up? The home repairs always wakes everyone up. It's wonderful. Home repairs, if you live in a low-income community, totally free, provided for you in this first cluster. But one of the checks in the first cluster getting gutted, and it's big. It's a CTC, the child tax credit, and it is being slashed dramatically. It was originally supposed to be 18 years, which would have been $51,000 per child. Then it was reduced to 5 years, which would have been $15,000 a child. Now it's being reduced to 1 full year, which would mean it would expire before the midterm elections. That would be about $33,000 to $3,600 per child. They got money in there for bikes, cars, and trucks, all electric, all U.S. auto manufactured. 50% for the purchase of a new electric bike, $7,500 for a new electric car, personal use, and a little bit more for business use. And that is the first of 3 clusters passed that'll pay you about $15,000. The first add-on comes from Maxine Waters, $25,000 for the purchase price of a new home. Any updates on that? We do not know if she got that cluster, that item added in. It's an add-on. It's not in the past items. But we do know that one of the provisions that are in the recon clusters passed is still in there, but may get gutted. It's the $200+ billion for rental assistance. That's a Maxine Waters provision. She got in there. It's passed. But I don't see it staying at $200 billion. Under third stimulus, it was about $47 billion, which I think is where it's going to go to. I think that the big price tag at $200 billion is unlikely to remain. Let's turn to the second cluster checks, and you got a lot of updates on this one. Home repairs, paid leave, paid family leave, paid medical leave, childcare programs, household tax credits, checks for seniors. We got pre-kindergarten, tuition-free community college. We got also big money across the board to weatherize your home. My favorite expression of the year, weatherizing. Weatherizing stayed in there. Yes, this is huge, especially if you have moderate Democrats on the roof. Definitely need to weatherize your home. As I always say, keep the moderate Democrats out of the House, and wherever possible, keep them out of the Senate. Well, what's the update on these provisions? Paid family leave and medical leave. Battleground. I have more about this later in this video. This is a provision that Nancy Pelosi wants in there, and a lot of people want it out. It's very costly. Then the community college. It was out Wednesday afternoon, and Jayalapal confirmed it was out. By Wednesday evening, Nancy Pelosi said, "Who took it out? I didn't take it out." Whoa, that's the first time you don't see Nancy and Jayalapal agreeing upon something. Nancy said it was back in. So very interesting. What I can say about the community college, it's not going to be lifetime. I have more about that community college coming up later in this video, and I have more about the paid leave and its fate. But now let's go to the second add-on. The second add-on comes from Bob Casey, and it's $250 billion for paid home health care. Do I see $250 billion surviving? Absolutely not. I mean, that would be a quarter of the price tag of the recon. Too expensive. Maybe something smaller. What is he looking to do? Provide paid home health care to individuals who can't afford it. And this would be great because you can't afford it. Now they have a licensed professional coming from your state to provide it to you. And then the son and daughter who can't work could now go into the workforce and no longer have to worry about taking care of you. $250 billion, I don't see it happening. That would be a 25% price tag of the entire recon. Something smaller, yes. But would smaller work? I don't know. I don't know enough about the program. But I do know the fate of the items in the third cluster. Oh boy, it's like Game of Thrones when you get to the third cluster. It is literally like West Side Story during the battle scene. Here we go. Free school meals for all, checks. Cheaper prescription medication. Checks for farmers. Checks for free internet. Checks for clean energy. Checks for workers like independent contractors, checks for seniors like dental, vision, and hearing care, and lowering the eligibility age for Medicare. Okay, this is the one where you're really going to see the bloodbath ensue. Let's go over each of them one at a time. Cheaper prescription medication, that's getting modified because that's the Sinema provision she doesn't like. Then the clean energy, one of the clean energy checks in there, I told you last week, Joe Manchin said, you need to take it out. It's a non-starter. I won't do the recon unless it's in there. The president took it out over a week ago. That's why Joe Manchin has been nirvana. He has absolutely been wonderful to work with. Everyone's loving the situation with Joe Manchin. This was the holdup. That provision, once it was removed, everything changed for Joe Manchin. Very, very easy to get along with. And it shows you that people, when they say what they like and they say what they don't like, things get moving. Then the Medicare eligibility age. Bob Casey, the Democrat from Pennsylvania, the 61-year-old, he wants to drop the Medicare eligibility age from 65 to 60. I hear it's still in there. But one provision is in jeopardy, is the dental, vision, and hearing care. I got this more in the third part of this video. This is from Bernie Sanders, and the president doesn't want to do it a lifetime. Bernie wants it lifetime. The latest update on that one coming up in a second. That is going to be a very big battleground. In fact, it's one of the biggest issues at contention. Now, let's turn to the third add-on, and that third add-on, of course, is the monthly stimulus check, the MSC. That MSC has a couple items that you need to know about that are big to this on early morning's broadcast. First, where to add it. Second, when to add it. And third, your part of the equation. Here we go. So Chuck Schumer, the majority leader of the Senate, says he's going to add it. He tells Debbie Applegate, or his staff does. He tells Donnie's wife the week before that. He tells another viewer going last weekend. He's going to add it. We also have Omar, Jalapal, and Pelosi's office saying they're going to add it on the House side, after a bill, but before a vote. So let's go over the different equations of what's at issue. We currently have a recon passed in a subcommittee of the House. Now we have legislators trying to modify that, taking things out, reducing things, adding things in, to get it to an agreement by the end of the week. One of my most unfavorite expressions, because I don't know what the end of the week means. Does it mean Friday? Does it mean Sunday? I'm here on Sunday. I'm here on Saturday. Are they here this Saturday and Sunday? I don't know. So they say an agreement by the end of the week so that they can get it written over the weekend and start voting for it in the House at the end of next week. So where would they add the provision if they did? The legislators on the House side say they would add it after they write the bill on the House side, before they call the vote. Meaning, before they call for a vote, they can add in amendments or changes across the board. On the Senate side, it's a little bit clear. We have the two-day vote-a-rama at the very end. That's where senators add changes in there. If you've been with this channel over the last year, you see how senators have made big, huge, life-changing legislation during the vote-a-rama. The vote-a-rama is a 48-hour period at the very end of the entire process where the senators get whatever is passed in this House. They get that bill and they say, you're missing 20 things in here. Let me change some stuff around. Sometimes it's stuff that's not even on the same subject and they add it in there. An example is the following. In January this year, the House passed the third stimulus package, sent it over to the Senate. And Chuck Schumer and Liz Warren said, you know what? We're trying to get this student loan debt forgiven. If student loan debt is forgiven under the IRS code, you have to pay taxes on debt that's forgiven. So if you have $50,000 of debt that's forgiven, then you have to pay $20,000 of taxes out of your own pocket, which you don't have. So they got a provision during the vote-a-rama, the senators, to not have forgiven debt, student loan debt, taxable as a taxable event. It's a huge idea, and they got it passed. That's the impact of the vote-a-rama. So Schumer says he wants to add that provision during the vote-a-rama. So does Bernie, Liz, Ron Wyden, Coons, Casey as well. Now, the last part of the equation, of course, is our advocacy. And that message comes in from the number one, so blink myself out there, the number one person on that recon, his chief of staff. The message is the following. They now have in total between congressional and senatorial offices received more advocacy from the LALATE Purple Power than the number of signatures in the American petition. Everyone's amazed by the outpouring of touching stories from LA's viewers. Now they have a better understanding of how Americans are trying to make it through the pandemic. They have heartbreaking stories, and they have the voice of the people across the nation in you, LA, as you have become too loud to be ignored. Really quite kind. Let's read the last sentence on air together because it concerns me and concerns you. The last sentence says, please continue your encouragement for the continued advocacy as the professional voice of the people you have become, LA, and push until this becomes law. Very, very kind. And what it's basically saying is advocate down to the finish line. How many phone calls did you make this week? How many phone calls did you make yesterday? as we go into a big weekend, make those phone calls right now. Remember, there's several steps. Before House bill, after House bill. Before House vote, after House vote. Before vote-a-rama, during vote-a-rama. Cannot stop any part of the process, because no part of the process is a timeout. No part of the process is the end result. The end result is the president's desk in the White House. In the second half of this video, we have a lot coming up. If you have been enjoying the latest updates, this is a big one. This is a huge one. I do not think I'll have time to cover third stimulus because it is so big. We'll be going over the deal and what the timeline is now suggesting as we sit now on the cusp of the weekend. The latest comments from Bernie, from Steny Hoyer, and from Joe Manchin about whether they can get the agreement done today. Then we'll be looking at why Democrats are having problems of telling Americans what's in the recon. The price is right. Why this price works for us and why it's great for news for you. And then the meat and potatoes of this video. The big rundown. Programs in, programs out. Programs reduced, programs enlarged. Student loan debt forgiveness. More debt could be forgiven this weekend. And then the first update we've had about fifth stimulus in several weeks. Very, very exciting. We'll be looking forward to the 1.5 year anniversary of this channel this weekend. You and I, big anniversary. But what does it tell us about ourselves, our community, and our family? I'll have more about that as well as we go into the second half of this video. It's a huge second half. It's a huge early mornings broadcast. I know it might be a little bit overwhelming information on an early morning show, but get that second shot of cappuccino espresso, whether it's cowpuccino or cappuccino, get it ready because we got a big second half starting in just 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues on early mornings at LALATE as the deal could be happening as early as today, if not this Sunday. I'll lay his details in this recording. The price is right. The recon will come in at 1.7 to 2 trillion. What does it mean for you? How long will the programs be running? Which programs are surviving? And which programs are out? Climate College among the big battlegrounds, but also some of Bertie's programs at issue. Student loan debt forgiveness, more debt could be forgiven as early as this weekend. Which ones are them? And then big exciting news as the first update about this stimulus in several weeks. A number one legislator saying to Pelosi, get ready, I'm ready to do fifth stimulus in the next few days. And then we look back on the 1.5 year anniversary of this channel, what we've learned about ourselves and our family across the board. We go over all the details of what we've learned and how we've improved as a family and as a community together, what we've learned about being important and being informed and being educated and being ready to focus on the big sums of money. We got all that and more as we go into a big second half of this video. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record, and 140 million viewers in a year and a half. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Stay with me because overnight's crypto currently playing on this channel. Then we got Mornings LALATE Countdown at 7 a.m. It's a big show. And then Mornings LALATE live on air at 9. And with that, let's turn to what is going on with the meat and potatoes of this recording. The biggest part of this recording, which of course is that exciting details about the big money that is coming out across the board. As we go across this recon, it's important to understand that the situation is very fluid, and this is the latest update as we sit here right now. First, deal. Could the deal be happening today or this weekend? I'm going to go over some initial quotes, and then I go over some more timeline quotes later thereafter. So I got basically like 2 rounds of quotes on the subject matter because it kept on coming on in. First, Jalapal says, we're going to get both of them done. We're going to get them done. Democracy is not easy. Negotiation is not easy. There are differences. Everybody knows there are differences. We have to bridge them and get them together, but we're going to get both of the bills done. We're going to get the infrastructure and the roads and the recon to the president's table together. There you go. Pelosi and Schumer telling their members that they should try to get that agreement done by the end of this week. My most favorite vague expression. When's the end of the week? Is it Sunday? Jump in the live chat. Is the end of the week today or is it Sunday? I mean, I consider Sunday the end of the week, but I don't know. Maybe they consider that the weekend and this is the week. Strange way of talking. You know, they took out that class, LA. What are you talking about? We're getting there, says Chris Coons. The gaps are closing. The vibe of the caucus is different. People are more clear-eyed. And no one wants to do this in December, says Chris Coons. Of course, he's the Democrat who first told viewers this channel he's doing a monthly stimulus check provision. John Tester says we're getting to the point where things are moving very quickly. I'll have more about this timeline and their latest comments that happened late last night. Basically, the situation has changed dramatically, and it has changed because of 2 really big things. One was Joe Manchin saying a week ago, take out that clean energy provision. It's a non-starter. It's a deal breaker. I'm not going to do this recon unless you take it out. The president said, take it out. And that really changed everything. It really changed everything. And then when Jalapal met with Joe Manchin on Monday, she said it was a wonderful conversation. She got along great with him. And she said people really came to a complete understanding. Joe Manchin has literally been nirvana this week. He has been absolute paradise because he finally said what he wanted and someone heard him. And he got a respectful response was, I'm taking it out. I want you to do this deal with us. And he says, I'll do the deal with you. And it's ironic because it's what I've always said on this channel. I always said Joe Manchin's not the enemy. I always said he was going to do the recon. He just didn't like the climate and he didn't like the price tag of $3.5 trillion. And guess what? He's bringing you to the finish line. Kristen Sinema, not so much. More about her in a second. LA told you so. A new CBS poll reveals that 90% of Americans don't even know the recon exists. Don't even know it exists. The who? And the 10% that know the recon exists cannot tell you what's in the recon. The reason why is because broadcast media doesn't want to cover it. For whatever reason, I don't know the reason, but yesterday, Joe Manchin had a cow with broadcast media. Not because of coverage like this, but because one publication ran a story that said he's leaving the Democratic Party. He was so upset that the language he used on camera, I cannot use on this video. Otherwise, you would no longer see me again. He can say it because, they can bleep it out. He was really angry. That's what they want to run. They want to run salacious stories that don't tell you anything about the money. And so what's going on right there is that that the Democrats are having big problems with getting out the message. Dick Turner, Democrat out of Illinois, says, I don't doubt it. I think it's the Democrats' fault. We have undersold and underperformed that recon for too long. Now it's our chance to change it and get it right. The price is right. And where is that price going? I have the latest details right now. The price is right on that recon, 1.7 to $2 trillion. What does it mean for you? It means that the programs will run anywhere from will run on average about 5-year programs. Now, what's important to understand, if I haven't made clear this week, is that the programs won't all have the same time duration. The average of the programs will be 5 years. What do I mean? I've been doing a lot of exclusives about these time frame of these programs. At $3.5 trillion, the programs were 10-year programs on average. $3.5 trillion, not happening. Let's cut 3.5 in half. It's 1.7. Then that brings you from 10-year programs to 5-year programs. Great. So what are the 3 numbers we're looking at here? The president wants $2 trillion. He said that to the Democratic caucus all this week, $2 trillion. That looks like about a 6.5-year program for these items. Democratic moderates said we'll do 1.7. That's fine. That's 5-year programs. We're fine with 5-year programs. 1.9, I think, is going to be the number. 1.9 is where the moderate Democrats will go. They said that, but they start to feel seasick after 1.9. So I think they can get to 1.9. Debbie, the reaction of the price tags have been great. Debbie Dingle says Biden's being very decisive. He's showing leadership. I think he's going to get it done. What Biden basically said is, we're not doing 3.5. No one wants to do 3.5. We have enough problems. Get it down in 2. He said do 2. It's interesting. He didn't say do 1.5. I mean, I would have said I would say go to 1.6. And then have them argue that they're 1.9. I'd say, okay, fine, I'll do 1.9. He did on the high end. He said go to 2, which is not that difficult. And it's worked. And there's a great consensus, says Patty Murray. And then Steny Hoyer, is the majority leader of the House, says, we're working very hard to get both of these bills passed. Right now, it's significant progress. Here comes the meat and potato of this recording. This is the biggest part of the recording. And this is the part you're looking for, of course, which is programs in, programs out. Okay, so I'm going to go over a lot right now. I'm going to go over the latest details, what happened new late last night, where the battlegrounds are, where things are going. All right. Wednesday, midday, we were told by Jalapal the following quote. As a community college, it probably won't, there will be something for higher education in the recon, but it won't be community college. So she said it was coming out. Pelosi came back and said, nope, community college is going in. Then Pelosi, let's go over some timeline questions. Timeline, House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer last night said, I think members are in a position where they want to get something done and within close margins. Pelosi says we continue to be on schedule. We have a goal with a series of milestones, meaning she wants to hit certain things at certain times of the week. And we've met every milestone along the way. And then comes Pelosi's comment about childcare and paid leave. It's more like paid leave. Remember the second cluster? Paid leave, paid family leave, $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 more per year. This is a Nancy Pelosi provision. It's very expensive, folks. It's an expensive provision. She said during discussing the provision where people said they wanted it out, she said, I've changed more diapers than anyone else in this room. And to this day, it still remains one of the funniest moments of this week. During the live chat on Evenings LA 2 nights ago, I said, that's the Nancy Pelosi diaper stimulus provision. And people are like, there's checks for diapers? How do I apply for this? I never saw people so excited about diapers. Yeah, it is not the diaper provision. That was a joke. But she says she's fighting tooth and nail to get that paid leave in there. More about that in a second. Ben Cardin says more deep cuts are coming. And then Chuck Schumer said on Wednesday, we are getting close to the agreement. We want to finalize a deal by the end of the week. There's that expression again. But we all must keep going. So here is the rundown. Nancy Pelosi says the family leave and the community college are still in. When asked about it, or perhaps after watching my videos, she said, out? That's news to me. That's not a decision. Okay, so let me tell you where we are right now. And here's some more new updates which came in last night. Okay, so first, child care tax credit. You're going to hear more about this later in this video if you didn't watch Evenings in LA last night. But child tax credit will not be 15 years, will not be 10 years, will not be 5 years. So instead of $51,000 or $10,000 or $15,000, it will be $3,000 or $3,600. They're going to do it for 1 year. And some critics, some people or advocates for child care program don't like that because it will expire before the midterm elections, meaning if they do not retain the House and Senate, that's the end of the child care programs forever. Obamacare and subsidies and Medicare expansion still in there. Good. Then Bernie is really upset because the dental, vision, and hearing care checks of that third cluster. Remember that third cluster, the Game of Thrones cluster? It's one that people are really going after, including the president. Bernie wants those provisions a lifetime, changes to Medicare lifetime. Biden says, no, I'm not doing lifetime. Biden said 3 years. Bernie said, I won't do 3 years. Then Biden said, how about some vouchers? As though that's like a really bad word to say. How about some vouchers? Vouchers, how dare you? So Bernie didn't like the word vouchers. I don't know what's wrong with vouchers. But that is a big battleground. The clean energy provision, the Joe Manchin provision, he does not like, out and staying out. And that's why Joe Manchin has been so easy to get along with this week. It's called the Clean Energy Electricity Performance Program. Very confusing terminology, but it's staying out. Meantime, the SALT tax is not in. It's staying out. The push to lift the cap on state and local tax deductions is out, which brings me to community college. Community college will not be more than 2 years. It'll either be 0, meaning it's not in there, or it'll be 1 year, or it'll be 2 years. Sinema and her secrets. She's really angering people because she's literally running marathons away from them. Infuriating. Veronica Escobar, Republican representative from Democrat from Texas, says, I don't know what the red lines are for that one U.S. Senator, Kristen Sinema, who has an amazing amount of power. It's a guessing game with Senator Sinema. We're all supposed to be on the same team. It means transparency, communication, collaboration, telling us what you think. Without it, it's significantly more challenging. All right, so here come the big quotes going in this morning. When asked whether the negotiations would go past today, which is absolutely, I mean, come on, that's a bad question for a reporter. What does that mean, negotiations? Of course, he's a senator. They're going to negotiate when it lands in the vote-a-rama. I mean, what type of question is that from a reporter? The question is, are you going to reach an agreement on the recon framework by Sunday? That's a well-phrased question. And so he said, are you going to be negotiating after today? Of course he is. It's not in the Senate yet. What is... Yeah. Joe Manchin was polite. He says, I believe so. Yeah, of course he is. But he gave us a nice quote, Joe. We're making good progress. There's a lot of good details. Until you see the text and the fine print, it's pretty hard to make sure a final decision. Absolutely. We have the intent. We just have to make sure that the intent matches the text of the bill, matches the intent of what people want to agree upon and what they don't agree upon. Good. He just says, I need to see the bill. I'm fine with that. Bernie Sanders said that getting the framework done by today may be a stretch. Steny Hoyer says we're still trying to get the framework done in the next 48 hours. That comment was late Thursday. So I guess Steny Hoyer is signaling to us maybe he's going to be here on Saturday. So I'm going to be here on Saturday. Then Nancy Pelosi says we're working very hard and the president's working very hard and members are focused on getting this done. Obviously, there are challenges. Okay, here are the battlegrounds. Here are your battlegrounds at breakfast. The breakfast of champions. Here we go. Climate and Medicare. The biggest obstacles still at issue are paid leave, the Nancy Pelosi provision. That's $1,700 a week. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And how do you do it right? You just do paid leave for 1 year and then it's not paid leave after that? I'm sure Nancy wants it for many, many years, and it's a very expensive provision. Medicare expansion, so far so good, but the dental, vision, and hearing, not so. That's a big battleground. Climate is, I have more about that in a second. Here's a quote from Jalapal, and I love this quote because it tells us nothing. What does she say? It would be outrageous not to include something like this so desperately needed and needs to be done. It's our most important part of the entire package and something that all of us ran on. Free pizza on Sunday. I don't know what provision she's referring to. I love the news reporters. They just run a quote and they don't tell you what the person was referring to. The quote just says she wants something in there. I don't know which one it is. It's the free pizza. Climate. I like this quote from Representative Amy Barrett, Democrat out of California. Can you send her a gold star? Because this is, or add her to your Christmas card list, because this is well said. I would like to see a little bit more about the climate, but if Senator Manchin can't be moved on it, let's just get what we can get and go on. I love that. It's just so sensible. Finally, someone that's like, thinking clearly. Okay. You know what I'm about to say. If you watched Evenings LA last night, you know what I'm about to say. $2 trillion recon. $2 trillion. How many billions are in a trillion? 250 billion is 1/4 of 2 trillion. I just butchered that. 250 billion is 1/4 of a trillion. Okay. All right, so there you go. What is 500 billion? 500 billion is 1/4 of 2 trillion. Joe Biden, he says he wants to do 2 trillion. Okay. So there's this one person. She's fighting her own little war by herself, and she's losing. Thank goodness. Do not include her on your Christmas card list. Her name is House Appropriations Chair Rosa DeLauro, Democrat out of Connecticut. She says, big mistake, not good for the country. What does she want to do? She wants to spend, out of a $2 trillion recon, $556 billion on her program. A little bit greedy, aren't we? Is it Representative Laura? Yeah, Representative DeLaura. A little bit greedy. She wants to spend 25% of the entire recon on her program. What? If it's not bacon, it better be really good. You want to spend 25% of the entire program on something? So what does she want to spend on? People who aren't even born yet. Are you cool? Yeah. She wants to do the child tax credit for 5 years, which currently at 1 year costs $109 billion. At 5 years, she wants to do it at $556 billion, and could even be upwards of $700 billion. How does she want to do this? Because she wants to tie it to inflation. Your benefits on SSI and SSDI are not even yet tied to inflation. That's fifth stimulus. She wants to tie on people who are not born, unborn children, to inflation and their benefits, and run them for 5 years at a price tag of nearly $600 billion that would consume 25% of the recon. Needless to say, no one's doing what she wants. Thank goodness. Can you just not include her on your Christmas card list? Yeah, that's sort of unsensible people. There we go. Let's go to student loan debt forgiveness. And this is added to my list of unsensible people. And these are, I don't want to name the names because these are people you want to help get you the rest of the money in the recon. But certain Senate Democrats have been offered $10,000 from the president, not cash to them, but $10,000 of student loan debt to forgive. Take it. Take it. It's the holiday season. People's debts could be forgiven by $10,000. Their student loan debt balances and interest could be slashed dramatically. You don't have to say it's the final coffin for student loan debt. It means that you can come back to the president again. But the president said over the last year, I'm not doing $50,000. I'll do $10,000. Take it. Take it. The president said this week, I will do $10,000. It'll be by executive order. We don't need a recon for it. We're done. I think this is a big one, a big win. Just take it. The president gave 3 other student loan debt forgiveness in the last few weeks, and the last 2 in the last few days. First, he forgave student loan debts for individuals who became disabled after graduation. Second, he forgave student loan debts for individuals who went into the nonprofit sector after graduation for 10 years. Yes, your debts have now been forgiven. And finally, the biggest one, the huge one, which is a lot of people. He forgave student loan debts for people who went into the public sector for 10 years after graduation. That's if you work for the city, the county, the state, or the federal government 10 years after graduation. It makes sense. You work as a public school teacher, you don't have enough money to pay back your student loan debts. You work for sanitation, Department of Transportation, you don't make enough money. These debts are absolutely wonderful. One viewer said to me in one of the chats, how do I get this done? Do I reach out to the state? No. This is a federal rule. So you want to reach out to Department of Labor, Department of Education, and then also reach out to the lender. Go to whitehouse.org to see if the statement is on there. And if anyone has done this or gone through the process yet, send me a DM on social media. I'll cover it on this channel. COLA. We got big updates on COLA because guess what? There is new details about this stimulus. Very exciting. So COLA, your benefits are going up next year 5 to 6%, but that's not the start. FIS stimulus is coming right behind it. And for the first time ever, I have an update on Early Mornings LA about FIS stimulus. House Budget Chair John Yarmuth says that he has spoken with Nancy Pelosi this week and has told her we're going to do FIS stimulus right after forced stimulus. And Nancy Pelosi likes it. Why does he want to do it? 1, he thinks it's great. 2, it solves a lot of things that are not on forced stimulus, which include, according to him, things like this and Medicare and child care, senior care, and other items that we decide not to put in the forced stimulus package. And the big one for him is he just is salivating, putting it to a recon, presenting it to the Republicans and having them vote against it, and then using that in the midterm elections against the Republicans. The Republicans in your state wouldn't give you a Social Security increase. Democrats did. Vote for us. That's what he's actually said. I think it's brilliant. The quote is, force Republicans to vote against it. And I don't see where the downside is in election years because we're trying to do things that are really popular. I think it's great. The reaction to the news is hysterical. The senators who just work so hard said, I'm busy with forced stimulus. Stop bothering me. Ron Wyden, I got my hands full of what I'm dealing with right now. Senator John Tester, very testy about this. We haven't even thought about it that. And then Brian Schatz is sort of Schatzy about this. One thing at a time. Goodness Lord. I guess they can't multitask, these people. There you go. Fifth stimulus first raises your benefits up if you're on SSI, SDI, Social Security, renewable benefits, veterans benefits, and then applies a new benchmark. That new benchmark is inflation. So yes, that would be 2 raises after COLA. First, COLA raises you up 5 to 6% next year. That's law. Then fifth stimulus comes in and raises you up after that. One time. Then they apply the new benchmark in December next year. That raises you up again across the board. They're going to remove the asset cap, remove the income cap, remove the marriage penalty, and there you go. Finally, if you haven't become a member, what's going on? The membership link is under the video. Consider becoming a member today to get the big money on a first, second, and third stimulus is still paying. Not enough time to cover in today's video, but I have it in the other videos across the board today. Viewers are still getting upwards an average of $40,000 on this channel. Not upwards of 40,000, average of 40,000, upwards of 120,000. The big money for rent, utilities, food, and internet from the federal government still coming out. The money for the nonprofits still available as well. Consider becoming a member to get that newsletter Monday through Friday, the last one of the week. See, I can say week before the weekend. See, I make it clear. Comes out in later tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sent from the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system, which is totally free at news.la.com. Consider becoming a member because as soon as forced stimulus becomes law, I'm going to get you all these sums of money. Finally, the LA Alert anniversary. This channel turns 1.5 years old this weekend. You and I are turning 1.5 years old this weekend, and over the last 1.5 years, we've amassed 140 million views. We've learned a lot about ourselves over the last 1.5 years, and one of the things we learned is don't let people be jealous of your knowledge. Don't let people rain on your parade because you know something and they don't know something. And it has been evidenced by that CBS poll this week, which said 90% of Americans don't know this recon exists. So 90% of Americans never have ever heard even of this topic. It's not that they don't know the provisions. They don't even know this topic exists. And then at the 10% that knew about the recon, they couldn't even tell you what's in the recon. Along the way, with all those people not knowing this recon exists, that pays the viewers of this channel on average $15,000. Imagine the element of disdain, jealousy, acquisitive thought that they look at you. Why do you know about this and I don't? Why do you know about how to get this money and I haven't been told this? Why do you know this? Where have you learned it? How come I have not learned it? How come the channel, how come the local news that I turned on doesn't tell me? How come the paper I read doesn't tell me? And you know. What we've learned over the last year is don't let your knowledge be a clutch. Don't be your knowledge be a negative. Your knowledge is a positive. And there's ultimately going to be someone that feels that it's an injustice that you know something and they don't know something. And that's not how life is. Life is often about people succeeding because they know something before someone else. Whether it's an inventor, whether it's an entrepreneur, whether it's a person who invests in stocks correctly or invests in crypto correctly, whether it's someone who buys the right real estate or buys the right antique car. There's a lot of people who learn how to do things, and with that knowledge, they make money. And as with that money, they make more money because they learn how to do things. Ultimately, we can't all have the same knowledge. And if someone wants to put the effort in to learn the knowledge, then that means you're taking the big first step. Learning starts with the first element. And as you learn more, you start to feel more embellished and you feel more energized to learn items thereafter. It's been sort of this topic of this channel, and certainly even the topic this week. You've seen how this channel has sort of ramped up the coverage. I mean, at 44 minutes, I don't have time for third stimulus because there is so much going on with the programs in the recon for stimulus that coming out and coming in. So I have to cover all that. A lot of information. We're all laughing about it. It's like information overload. Like people are saying their brains are short-circuiting because there's so much information in the videos. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. maybe too much at breakfast time. Maybe a reason for an extra shot of espresso. But don't ever think that too much information is a bad thing. Too much information is a good thing. Take things in stride. Don't feel overwhelmed in life. Don't ever feel that information is overwhelming. Information is your friend. Information is your friend. And ultimately, you always have the benefit of looking at something a second time to think it through. And if you think that the platform that you hear it or the place you hear it allows you to understand it, then just listen to it again. And you'll be surprised how informed you can make yourself be. We're always surprising ourselves. We're surprising ourselves when, we make a dish for dinner that we never knew we could make, or we change a part on the car we never thought we could personally change ourselves, or we fix something with the computer, or we fix something with the nightstand or the TV stand or the TV that fell. We always find something that we're surprised that we could do it better than we could do it. Don't think that you are uninformed. Don't count yourself lower based upon that you haven't done it before. Because as Americans, as people who strive for information, you'd be surprised how much you can do when you learn the information. And when you learn the information, don't think it's a negative. It's always a positive. And with that, join me next on Overnight's Crypto, currently playing on this channel. It's a big show. It's a big show right now. This video will automatically take you into Overnight's Crypto. And then we go into Morning's Countdown at 7 a.m. A new LALATE is at 9 a.m. It's a big show today as well. So with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I wish you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful morning, and I'll see you next as LALATE continues.